Motels are temporary places. Thin walls, cheap locks, parking lots that stretch into darkness. You check in, you sleep, you leave. But sometimes, something checks in with you. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy true horror stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. These are 3 true stories, 3 different motels, 3 different people who thought they were safe behind a locked door. They weren't. Because in a motel, you're never really alone. You're just waiting to find out who else is there. Jessica pulled into the Desert Rose Motel just after midnight, Highway 62, California, middle of nowhere. She'd been driving for 11 hours straight, a sales conference in Phoenix. Home was still 5 hours away. Her eyes burned, her back ached. The motel sign flickered. Half the letters were out. She almost kept driving, but her phone was at 8% and the next town was 60 miles. The office smelled like cigarettes and air freshener that had given up years ago. The clerk was a man in his 60s, greasy hair, stained shirt. He didn't look up when she walked in. "One night," Jessica said. He slid a registration card across the counter. No computer, just a handwritten ledger. "Room 237, he said. His voice was flat, disinterested. He handed her 2 key cards. The plastic was worn smooth. "Checkout's at 11. She took the cards, walked back to her car, grabbed her overnight bag. The motel was 2 stories, U-shaped, parking lot in the middle. Room 237 was upstairs, 2nd floor, far end. The outdoor walkway creaked under her feet. She could hear a TV through one of the doors, canned laughter from an old sitcom. But most of the rooms looked empty. Dark windows, no cars parked outside. She unlocked room 237. The air inside was stale, warm. Beige walls, brown carpet, a bed with a floral comforter that had seen better decades. A bathroom with a shower curtain that didn't quite close. She locked the door, put the chain on, tossed her bag on the chair. She thought about showering but decided against it. Too tired, too creeped out. She checked the closet. Empty. She checked under the bed. Nothing but dust. She put both keycards on the nightstand, plugged in her phone. Then she turned off the light and got into bed. The sheets smelled like industrial detergent. She closed her eyes and tried not to think about how isolated this place felt. She woke up to footsteps, slow, deliberate, right outside her door, back and forth, pacing. Jessica held her breath, listened. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, the sound of something brushing against her door, like someone running their hand along the wood. She sat up slowly, heart pounding. The red glow of the alarm clock said 2:47 a.m. She stared at the door. The peephole was just a black circle from this angle. She didn't want to look through it. The footsteps started again, slower this time. Then they stopped directly in front of her room, and she heard it. The electronic beep of a keycard reader, but not a rejection beep, the access-granted beep. The green light above her door handle flashed on. Jessica's stomach dropped. The handle turned, slowly, metal grinding against metal. Then it stopped. The chain was holding the door. There was a gap, maybe 3 inches. She could see the outdoor walkway light spilling through, and a shadow. Someone was standing there, not moving, not speaking, just standing. "Hello?" Jessica's voice cracked. No response. "I'm calling the police." Nothing. Her phone was on the nightstand, 6 feet away. She'd have to get out of bed, turn her back on the door. The shadow shifted. Then the door closed. The handle released. Footsteps moved away. Slow. Casual, like nothing had happened. Jessica grabbed her phone. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely unlock it. She checked the keycards on the nightstand, both of them right where she left them, which meant someone else had a key to her room. But that wasn't the worst part. She called the front desk. It rang and rang and rang. No answer. She thought about going down there, demanding an explanation, but that meant leaving the room, walking down that dark hallway, past whoever had just tried to get in. No. She pushed the chair against the door, under the handle. Then she sat on the bed with her phone, knees pulled to her chest, waiting for sunrise. The next hour passed like poison. Every sound made her flinch. A door closing somewhere, a car engine starting, the wind rattling the walkway railing. At 4 a.m., she heard the footsteps again. Slower this time. They stopped at her door. Silence. Then, knocking. Not aggressive, not frantic. Gentle, patient. 3 soft knocks. Jessica. Her blood went cold. It was a man's voice. Quiet, almost polite. Jessica, it's okay. You can open the door. How did he know her name? I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk. She didn't move, didn't breathe. Okay, the voice said. I'll come back later. The footsteps moved away, but this time they went to the next room, room 236. She heard a keycard beep, a door open, then close. He went inside. Jessica waited until 6 a.m. First light was bleeding into the sky. She grabbed her bag, didn't bother packing properly, just shoved everything in. She moved the chair, unlocked the chain, opened the door slowly. The walkway was empty. She could see her car down below, just 30 feet away. She moved fast, keys already in her hand. She didn't look at room 236, didn't want to know. She got to the stairs, started down. Leaving so soon? The voice came from behind her. She spun around. The clerk, the same man from the front desk, standing at the top of the stairs, blocking her path back up. But she wasn't going up. Yeah, early start. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. You didn't stop by the office. I'm in a hurry. You're supposed to return your key cards. Jessica's hand tightened around her bag. I'll mail them. His smile faded. That's not how it works. She backed down another step. I really have to go. He started down the stairs towards her. She turned and ran, hit the parking lot, didn't look back, got to her car, threw her bag in the passenger seat, started the engine. As she pulled out, she glanced up at the second floor, room 237. The door was open. The clerk was standing in the doorway, just watching her leave. She drove for 2 hours before she stopped shaking. Later, much later, she searched for the Desert Rose Motel online. There was no record of it. No website, no reviews, no address that matched. Like it didn't exist. But she had the key cards. She still has them. 2 worn plastic cards that open a door she hopes she never sees again.
Marcus had worked the night desk at the Evergreen Inn for 3 years, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 4 nights a week. It wasn't glamorous, but it was quiet, and quiet was what he needed after his deployment. The Evergreen was a small place, 30 rooms, right off Interstate 40 in Oklahoma. Truckers, traveling salespeople, families making cross-country moves. Most guests checked in, slept, and left. No drama, no problems. Until room 14B. It started on a Tuesday in March. Marcus was doing his rounds, checking the vending machines, making sure the hallways were clear. He passed room 14B on the first floor and stopped. The door was open. Not wide open, just ajar, maybe 6 inches. The room was dark inside. No light, no sound, no movement. Marcus knocked. Hello? Housekeeping forgot to close your door. No response. He pushed it open a little wider. "Sir? Ma'am?" The room was empty. Bed made, luggage gone, bathroom dark. But the checkout wasn't until morning, and there was no key on the desk. He checked the system. Room 14B was still occupied. Guest name M. Fenwick. Checked in 2 days ago, paid for 3 nights. He closed the door, made sure it latched. Figured the guest went out, forgot to pull it shut all the way. He went back to the desk. An hour later, he did another round. Room 14B. The door was open again. Marcus stood in the hallway, staring at the door. He'd locked it. He was sure of it. He went inside, turned on the light. Empty, just like before. But this time he noticed something. The closet door was open. It hadn't been open before. He walked over, looked inside. Nothing, just hangers. But there was a smell. Faint, sour, like old sweat and something else. Something metallic. He closed the closet, left the room, locked the door again. This time he made a note in the system. Guest in 14B, possible sleepwalking or intoxication. Monitor. He went back to the desk. 20 minutes later, his phone buzzed. A notification from the motel's security camera system. Motion detected, first floor hallway. He pulled up the feed. Room 14B. The door was opening again. Slowly. From the inside. But no one came out. The door just stayed open. Marcus felt his skin prickle. He grabbed the master key and a flashlight, walked down the hallway. The door was open again. He stepped inside. "Mr. Fenwick?" No response. He checked the bathroom. Empty. Checked the closet. Empty. Checked under the bed. And froze. There were scratches on the underside of the box spring, deep gouges in the fabric, like someone had been clawing at it from below. Marcus backed out of the room, locked the door, went back to the desk. He pulled up the guest registration for room 14B. Name M. Fenwick. License plate, none listed. Credit card, declined. Paid cash. Phone number, disconnected. He checked the guest log. M. Fenwick had checked into room 14B 6 times in the past year. Always the same room. Always 3 nights. Always cash. And every time, there were complaints. Noise from 14B. Sounds like furniture moving. Guest in 14B left door open multiple times. Strange smell coming from 14B. But no one had ever seen M. Fenwick. What happened next changed everything. At 4 a.m., Marcus heard a sound. A low, rhythmic thudding, coming from the first floor. He walked down the hallway. The sound was coming from room 14B. Thud, 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 like something heavy being dragged across the floor. He knocked. "Mr. Fenwick? Is everything all right?" The sound stopped. Silence. Then, a voice. Muffled. Distant. "Help me." Marcus's pulse spiked. "Sir, are you okay?" "Help me." He used the master key, opened the door. The room was dark. He flipped the light switch. Nothing happened. The bulb was out. He used his flashlight. The room was empty, but the closet door was open again. "Sir?" "In here." The voice was coming from the closet. Marcus walked slowly, shined his light inside. Nothing. Just hangers. Just shadows. "Where are you?" "Down here." He looked down. There was a panel in the closet floor, a small access hatch to the crawl space beneath the building. It was open. He could see darkness below, concrete, pipes, and something moving. He stepped back. "Sir, you need to come out." The movement stopped. Then, a hand reached up through the hatch, pale, dirty, fingers too long, grabbing the edge. Marcus ran. He called the police from the front desk, told them there was an intruder, someone hiding in the crawl space. They arrived in 12 minutes. 3 officers. They went into room 14B with flashlights and weapons drawn. Marcus waited in the hallway. 5 minutes later, they came out. One of the officers looked pale. "You said someone was down there." "Yes, I saw a hand." The officer shook his head. "There's no one down there, but—" He paused. "There's evidence someone's been living in that crawl space. Blankets, food wrappers, a sleeping bag. And there's a tunnel." "A tunnel?" "Yeah, looks like it connects to the maintenance access behind the building. Someone's been coming and going through there." The officer looked at Marcus. "How long has room 14B been occupied?" Marcus checked his phone. "Guest checked in 2 days ago." "When did you last see them?" Marcus realized he never had. The reservation was made online. The key was picked up from the lockbox. Payment was left in an envelope. He'd never actually seen M. Fenwick. The police searched the crawl space, found more evidence. Photos, dozens of them, taped to the underside of the floorboards. Pictures of guests taken from below, through gaps in the floor. People sleeping, showering, changing clothes. Room 12B, 13B, 14B, all first-floor rooms, all above the crawl space. They found a drill, a camera, and a list. Names, room numbers, dates. M. Fenwick was never a guest. M. Fenwick lived in the walls, and he'd been watching for years. They never found him. The tunnel led to the woods behind the motel. He was gone. But Marcus still works the night desk, and sometimes, late at night, he hears it. That thudding sound. Slow, rhythmic, coming from beneath the floor.
The Red Roof Motor Lodge was supposed to close in 2 weeks. End of an era, last guests, then demolition. David didn't care about the history. He just needed a place to sleep. It was late October, Maine, the kind of cold that gets into your bones. He'd been driving all day, moving his daughter to college. They'd dropped her off that morning, and now he was driving home alone. The Red Roof was the only motel for 40 miles. He pulled in just after 10 p.m. The parking lot was empty except for 2 cars, a rusted truck near the office and a Honda with a cracked windshield near the far end. The office lights were on, flickering. Inside, the clerk was a woman in her 50s, tired eyes, smoking a cigarette even though there was a no smoking sign on the wall. How many nights? Just one. She slid a registration form across the counter. You're in room 12, last one available. David looked around. The board behind her showed 30 rooms. Only 2 keys were missing. Last one? She didn't look up. Plumbing issues, most of the building's condemned. Room 12's the only one left. She handed him a physical key, brass, old-fashioned. Checkout's at 10. David took the key and walked back outside. Room 12 was at the far end of the building, ground floor. The windows on the other rooms were boarded up. Some were broken. The whole place felt like a corpse. He unlocked room 12. The air inside was freezing. No heater, just a wall unit that clicked but didn't blow. The room smelled of mildew and old carpet, but he was exhausted. He threw his bag on the chair, locked the door, got into bed. He fell asleep within minutes and woke up to the sound of someone crying. It was coming from the room next door, room 11. A woman's voice, sobbing, low and broken. David checked the time, 1:30 a.m. He listened. The crying was steady, relentless. He tried to ignore it, pulled the pillow over his head, but it didn't stop.
After 10 minutes, he got up, walked to the door, opened it. The cold air hit him like a slap. He stepped outside, looked at room 11. The windows were boarded up. The door had a red X spray painted on it, condemned. But he could still hear the crying, muffled, distant, coming from inside. He walked over, knocked on the door. "Hello? Are you okay?" The crying stopped. Silence. Then, a voice. Quiet, shaking. "Please help me." David's chest tightened. "Are you locked in?" "I can't leave." "Hold on, I'll get the manager." He ran back to the office, burst through the door. The clerk was asleep, head on the desk, cigarette burned down to ash in the tray. "Hey, hey!" She jerked awake. "There's someone in room 11. She's crying. She says she can't leave." The clerk stared at him. "Room 11's been closed for 6 months. I just heard her. She's in there." The clerk stood up slowly, grabbed a flashlight. They walked down to room 11. David knocked again. "Hello?" No response. The clerk shined her light through a gap in the boards, pulled back immediately. "What?" David asked. She didn't answer, just handed him the master key. "Open it." David unlocked the door. It swung open. The smell hit him first. Rot, damp, decay. The room was gutted, carpet ripped up, walls moldy, ceiling sagging, and in the corner, a pile of blankets. The clerk walked over, lifted one with her flashlight. Underneath was a sleeping bag, food wrappers, empty water bottles, a backpack. Someone had been living here, but that wasn't the worst part. "Who the hell is staying here?" David asked. The clerk crouched down, looked at the backpack. "I don't know." She opened it. Inside were clothes, a wallet, and a phone. She opened the wallet. Driver's license. Amanda Hayes, age 32. The clerk's face went white. "I know her." "What?" "She stayed here 6 months ago, left in the middle of the night, never checked out." David's stomach turned. "She's been living here?" "I don't know. We thought she just left." The phone was dead. The clerk pocketed it. "We need to call the police." They walked back to the office. The clerk picked up the landline. Before she could dial, they heard it. A door slamming. David turned. Room 12. His room. The door was closed. He'd left it open. He walked back slowly, put his hand on the handle. It was locked. "Hey!" He pounded on the door. "Open up!" The clerk ran over with the master key, unlocked it. They stepped inside. The room was empty, but his bag was open. His clothes were scattered across the floor, and on the bed, someone had written something in the dust on the headboard. 2 words. "Still here." The police arrived 20 minutes later. They searched the entire motel, room 11, room 12, every condemned unit. They found more evidence, more sleeping bags, more supplies, more signs someone had been living in the closed rooms, but no Amanda Hayes. David gave his statement, said he'd heard crying, heard a voice. The police took it seriously, but they didn't find her. A week later, David got a call from the Maine State Police. They'd found Amanda's car, abandoned in the woods behind the motel. Inside the glove box, a note, handwritten, dated the night she checked in 6 months ago. It read, "I can't leave. Every time I try, I end up back in the room. I've tried 5 times. The door always brings me back. I don't think I'm alone here. I think something's keeping me. If you find this, don't stay in room 12. It's not safe. It doesn't let you leave." They tore down the Red Roof Motor Lodge 2 weeks later. During demolition, they found something in the walls of room 12. Human bones. Old. Decades old. A woman. Identity unknown. No one knows how she got there or how long she'd been waiting. David doesn't stay in motels anymore. He drives straight through, no matter how tired, because he knows now. Some motels don't let you check out. Motels are supposed to be temporary. You check in, you rest, you leave. But sometimes you can't leave. Sometimes the lock doesn't keep people out. Sometimes the walls aren't empty. Sometimes the room remembers. Jessica still has those key cards. She keeps them in a drawer, a reminder. Marcus still hears the thudding late at night when the motel is quiet. And David, well, he sold his car, bought one with a bigger tank, so he never has to stop. Because the truth is, motels are temporary, but the things that live in them, they're not. They're patient. They wait for the next guest, the next room, the next person who thinks they're safe behind a locked door. So the next time you check into a motel, listen closely, check the locks, look under the bed, and whatever you do, don't assume you're alone, because in a motel, you never really are.